Hello, my name is Fox and you're watching Den of Fools. Let's jump right in. In Week 8 of 2024, we had 158 tournaments with a total of 3,383 players and 12,901 games played. We have a huge amount of data this week, which is the new biggest week of results we've recorded so far. It was less than a month ago when we broke our previous record for the number of tournaments recorded in a week, and we have already topped that amount. It looks like the amount of 40k tournaments are only increasing, which for me is great for the game overall. It'd be interesting to see if the trend continues, with even more 40k tournaments being played on a weekly basis. With that said, this week the Necrons topped the charts with 20 wins and 62 top 3 placings. Their weighted placing is 15.8, which is significantly higher than the 9.7 they got last week. Again, they have managed to beat the Marines to the top spot, showing how well Necrons are doing at the moment. The Space Marines have managed to reclaim second place, with 18 wins, 65 top 3 placings, and a weighted placing of 34.4. which is a very similar result to last time. Although they place highly due to the number of players, the data suggests to me that they are struggling a bit at the moment. This is shown by the fact that the majority of their top 3s come from the smaller tournaments, with the Necrons performing far better than them at the larger ones. Of course, the Necrons are arguably the strongest faction at the moment, but even when Aldari were dominant, they never beat Space Marines to the top spot in terms of tournament wins. Custodians are also performing very well with 18 wins, 49 top 3 placings and a weighted placing of 14.8. Their weighted placing is significantly higher than the 9.1 they got last time. However, they again get the third best weighted placing overall. The more tournaments we have, the higher weighted placings we usually see. This is especially true this week, as there have been multiple 200 plus player tournaments, which of course can only have a single winner. Overall, they are looking very strong indeed since their buffs. The Orcs come next with 10 wins, 25 top 3 placings, and a weighted placing of 16.7. They improved significantly on last time. However, we have seen the Orcs do this regularly throughout 10th edition. The Aldari make a return to the blue group, with 9 wins, 24 top 3 placings, and a weighted placing of 16.9. Considering they had a weighted placing over 70 last week, this is a very good result for them. Perhaps Aldari players have adapted to the changes, and have found new units to take after the repeated nerfs. They do still have some good units, and the rerolls from their detachment will always be very useful. Their dark counterparts, the Drukhari, come next, also getting 9 wins, with 19 top 3s and a weighted placing of 13.8, the second best overall. It is either the Drukhari or Custodes who take the award for the most improved faction after the balance changes so far. The Tyranids also get 9 wins, with 17 top 3s and a weighted placing of 19, another very good week for them. It'd be interesting to see if they can continue to get in the blue group, and they did do particularly well in the larger tournaments this week. Somewhat surprisingly, Chaos Space Marines are the last faction in blue, with 7 wins and a weighted placing of 19.4. Considering they only won 3 tournaments last week, this is a very big improvement for them, although the majority of their results came from the smaller tournaments. Tau topped the green group with 6 wins, 23 top 3 placings and a weighted placing of 22.8. Grey Knights, Imperial Knights and World Eaters also get 6 wins, being ranked by the number of top 3 placings. The World Eaters get the best weighted placing of the factions with 6 wins with 15.5. This is a particularly impressive result for the World Eaters, considering they only managed 2 wins and a weighted placing of 35.5 last week. We see many factions with similar results, with the Sisters, Chaos Knights and Thousand Sons all getting 5 wins. Astra Militarum, Death Guard and Demons are the last factions in green with 4 wins. The Gene Stealer Cults top the yellow group with 3 wins, although they do have the best weighted placing with 11.7. While Aldari, Chaos Space Marines and World Eaters have improved this week, the Lees of Votan are still struggling, with only a single win and a weighted placing of 87. Unfortunately, the Admech are the only faction in red, with 5 top 3 finishes and no wins. 23 factions managed at least 1 top 10 placing, with the Space Marines getting the most top 10s with 251. The Necrons are in second with 153 top 10 placings, followed by Custodes in third on 110 top 10 placings. It really shows we had a huge number of tournaments, and 3 factions managed to get over 100 top 10 placings. Unsurprisingly, the Space Marines are the most played faction with 18.33% of all players taking them. Necrons are the second most popular on 9.31%, followed by Custodes in third on 7.89%. Again, we see these 3 factions as the most popular. It looks like it will remain this way, at least for the time being. It takes our resident stats guru and Ultramarine fanboy Fearless Fox many hours to collect all the data. It would be great if you could show your appreciation by liking and sharing the video. It really helps us with the God algorithm of YouTube. We have grouped the win rates by colour, with the key at the bottom of the screen. As there is only a single Ynnari player, this week the Necrons topped the charts with a win rate of 55.5%. They have dropped back a little bit from the 58.6% they got last week, although they are still above the Goldilocks zone. The Custodies are close behind with a win rate of 54%, which does just put them in the Goldilocks zone. The Tau have another good week with 53.9%, improving even further on the 51.1% they got last time. I'm not too sure why they're performing so much better, but I would imagine the rather cheap Riptides are being taken rather often. Their Codex is coming out soon, which will change things for them, and not necessarily for the better as we have unfortunately seen with the AdMech. The Genestealer Cult have backed up their best weighted placing this week with an impressive win rate of 53.5%. This is a very big increase on the 44.4% they got last week. I'm not sure why this is the case, but with such a small player base, their win rate can swing quite dramatically on a week-by-week basis. The Drukhari are close behind with a win rate of 53.4%, which is a big improvement on the 48.6% they got last time. They do have a lot more players this week. Perhaps they are growing in popularity as players are finding more competitive lists. The Imperial Knights continue to perform well with a win rate of 52.4% and are another contender for the title of Most Improved Faction. The Eldari see a small return to form with a win rate of 52%. Considering a lot of the Eldari index was simply unused as their strong units were so popular, I am not too surprised their win rate is over 50% again. It has increased week on week since the update, which suggests to me that players have adapted to their nerfs somewhat effectively. It'll be interesting to see if it continues. The Grey Knights have dropped back from the chart-topping performance last week, however they still have a very respectable 51.5%. Adeptus Roritas are the last faction in green, with a win rate of 50.8%. The Orcs top the yellow group with a win rate of 49.7%, which is a slight increase for them. The Thousand Sons get a win rate of 49.5%, which is a significant drop from the 54.6% they got last time. Having said that, they did win the biggest tournament this week, the Frontline Gaming Cherokee Open. We will be covering their winning list in an upcoming tournament spotlight. Chaos Demons have also dropped back a bit, getting a win rate of 49.2%. The World Eaters are back in the Goldilocks zone, with a win rate of 48.7%. Chaos Knights are on a win rate of 47.3%, with the Death Guard on 46.3%, and the Leagues of Votann just getting in the Goldilocks zone with a 45% win rate. The Space Marines get a win rate of 44.5%, with the Tyranids dropping back significantly from the 50% win rate they got last week. This time they get a win rate of 43.8%. Chaos Space Marines are struggling despite winning a good number of tournaments this week, with a win rate of 39.6%. Adeptus Mechanicus unfortunately are at the bottom with a win rate of 35.4%. GW did release a MetaWatch article recently, saying that they were looking at buffing some of the units in the Codex, although they stated their win rate is okay at the moment. Hopefully they will give them some meaningful buffs as early as possible. With more data, the Necrons are clearly out in front with a win rate of 56.3%. GW are looking at AdMech for potential buffs. They also commented they are looking at Necrons for potential nerfs. With a lot of games recorded since the balance date is late, I think we can conclude they are the top faction at the moment, so a nerf wouldn't be unwarranted. I do think the Catan in particular are very competitive at the moment, with most lists I've looked at taking 3. The Custodies are the second best faction with a win rate of 54.4%, followed by Imperial Knights on a win rate of 53.5%. The improvement of these two factions in particular shows what GW can accomplish with a few targeted buffs. The Grey Knights have expectedly dropped back a bit, to a win rate of 53.5% since the balance changes. The Thousand Sons have a 52% win rate, with Drukhari and Tau both on a win rate of 51.3%. After a good week, the Genestealer Cult have just snuck into green, with a 50% win rate. The majority of factions are in yellow, with many having a similar win rate since the balance update when compared to the 4-week roll-in, which is to be expected. The Eldari still have a slightly better 4-week roll-in win rate, but if the week's performance is anything to go by, they will soon be back in the green group. Space Marines, Guard, AdMech and Chaos Space Marines are below the Goldilocks zone, with AdMech and CSM being a little bit below the rest. I think it's safe to say they should have buffed AdMech, and they went a bit too hard on Chaos Space Marines in the last balance update. This week, as the chapters ahead only have a few players, the joint most popular chapter, the Black Templars, top the charts with a win rate of 48.6%. The Space Wolves come next with a win rate of 47.5%, with the Salamanders on a win rate of 45.9%. The second most popular chapter, the Blood Angels, have a win rate of 45.7%, with the Death Watch on a win rate of 45.2%. Most of the chapters continue to fall below the Goldilocks zone, with the third most popular chapter, the Ultramarines, getting a win rate of 42.3%. The Imperial Fists are close behind on a win rate of 42.1%, with the other joint most popular chapter, the Dark Angels, on a win rate of 41.9%. I must say I am slightly surprised the Dark Angels are this low down. However, with their codex nearly released, there should be some movement relatively soon. The White Skulls get a win rate of 37.5%, with the Iron Hands on 32.4%, and the Raven Guard on a 32% win rate. From the initial results, it definitely looks like the Space Marines are feeling the pain after the balance changes. The Black Templars just remain in green with a win rate of 50.6%. Considering this was at 52.3% last week, I would be surprised if they remain there for much longer. The Space Wolves remain at a similar level with a win rate of 48.1%. The Salamanders are the last chapter in the Goldilocks zone with a win rate of 46.3%. The Dark Angels have dropped below after a few rough weeks. They now have a win rate of 44.7%. Fearless's favourite Blue Boys, the Ultramarines, are on a win rate of 44.2%, with the Blood Angels on 43.7%. The Imperial Fists have a win rate of 41.8%. The Death Watch are the last chapter in yellow, with a win rate of 41%. The Iron Hands have a win rate of 36.6%, with the Raven Guard on a 26.1% win rate. As I suggested in the last stat show, a lot of the chapters have dropped down considerably. As we only have a few players in the weekly, we will focus on the win rates since the date slate. The Word Bearers top the win rates with 50%, followed by the Emperor's Children on 44%. The Alpha Legion are now on a win rate of 43.8%, with the Iron Warriors on 41.9%. The Red Corsairs have a win rate of 41.7%, with the most popular warband, the Black Legion, on a win rate of 35.4%. The Night Lords are at the bottom with a 34.7% win rate. Chaos Space Marines continue to struggle, with the Unknown faction now dropping well below the Goldilocks zone since the changes. If you enjoyed our content, please subscribe, check out one of the videos on screen, and consider using our affiliate links in the description. Thank you for watching.